Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the March 10th, 2020 Cobb County Solid Waste Management Authority update. And the first order of business is to approve the minutes of March 12th, 2019. So I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
You have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. I'll go ahead and call the question. Passes 4-0 with Commissioner Cubit in absence. Okay. Mr. Jenkins, floor is yours.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. County Manager. We have a lot of items to discuss today, so without further preamble, I'll call Mike Ellis, who will be reporting today for tag grinding services. I'll let him point.
You can put that up there.
Good morning. My name is Mike Ellis. This is my first time here, but I'm the new operations manager at Tag Grinding. Jerry and Jay Brooks sold the company December the 4th to Dennis Carey and Garland Bird Buster. Jerry and Jay still work for the company as outside sales estimators. And Jay we call on quite often for some advice. Now, I've worked with Dennis Carey since 1995. And then I moved to Cobb County. Dennis knew that I had moved to Cobb County, and he knew from my experience as a logging crew owner that he could count on me to oversee the operations. Dennis and I are both foresters with a forestry degree from the University of Georgia. Buster is a real estate investor with a concentration on forest lands. Some of you may recognize the name Garland Bird, because Buster's father was Lieutenant Governor of Georgia from 1959 to 1963. Buster and Dennis have partnered in many other businesses together. And when TAG became available, they recognized that Cobb County was growing and was a great place to own a forestry-related business. And I would like for them to stand up. Dennis Carey, Buster Bird, and then of course Jerry Brooks is still here with us. The next slide shows the number of customers and the usage for the past 3 years. 2018, we had 38,000 transactions, resulting in an output of 27,196 tons. Per the agreement, TAG was paid in 2018 $109,742. 19 was very similar, but had less transaction, resulting in a decline in income to Cobb County. And I think that the answer lies, if you look at that truck sitting up with the grinder on it on our road at the yard in Cobb County, is raining nearly every day, and we know that from being in the business in the past, that anything doing with the wood business, rain will cause a decline in your income. One more, sir. The pictures in that slide kind of tell the story. TAG takes in woody vegetation from private landowners, landscapers, tree surgeons, Cobb DOT, the city of Marietta, the city of Powder Springs, and many other sources. TAG takes in material and recycles it to make electrical power and mulch. A tremendous amount of heavy equipment and on-road trucking is necessary to meet these goals. Next, sir. TAG has always volunteered with Cobb County Clean and Beautiful to help pick up Christmas trees for recycling. This year, we added a voucher for anyone who brought a tree. They could come by the yard and get a free yard of compost soil. And many thanks to Kimberly White for helping TAG get this voucher off the ground. So let me just share a story about that. I was at Fuller's Park on a Saturday morning when a couple came up. They were walking their dog, and the man said, "Look at all these wasted trees." And I said, "Well, sir, did you have a plastic tree?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, what do you do with it when it's outdated and out of use?" He said he puts it in the landfill. And I said, well, let me explain. Somebody got paid to grow those Christmas trees. Somebody got paid to truck the Christmas trees. And now we're taking the trees, recycling them, and making green renewable power. And he said, well, I never thought of that. The next one shows the markets that we serve. And because of our experience in the forestry business, we added new markets every day. We go to Piedmont Green Power in Barnesville, to Old Castle in Shadydale. There's 2 Georgia renewable power plants that just came online. We also go to International Paper in Rome, Resolute Forest Products, Calhoun, Tennessee, and West Rock Paper in Stevenson, Alabama. All of them make electricity or mulch. Old Castle basically makes all of the bag mulch and topsoil that you see at Home Depot. So that's it. If y'all have any questions for me? Yes, sir.
This morning.
Thanks, Mike. All right, next we will have Adam Lomax, who is the General Manager for Advanced Disposal Services, Atlanta Area Transfer Stations, and Mayor Steve Edwards. Give a report for Advanced Disposal.
Thank you, Jonathan. It's a pleasure to be back this time of year, every year. It's mighty early in the morning. Greetings from Sugar Hill, Georgia. I'm Steve Edwards with Advanced Disposal. This is Adam Lomax, as Jonathan mentioned. Adam's going to take you through the summary, and I'm just going to kind of help tag team with Adam. He's kind of learning what I do, so I'm just going to let him speak, and I'll coach from the side. So, Adam?
Good morning, everybody. So as you can see from last year, we had some drops in volumes as well. Electronics were down a little bit. Antifreeze was up for the recycling. Batteries were down. Metal was pretty stable, and then oil was also down a little bit, and then tires stayed flat. So as you can see, the days were about the same. The tons hauled in versus tons hauled out, we were down. We contribute those to weather. As he said, the rain has also played a factor for us. Also, in 2018, you will see that the number was higher, and we think that was due to some of the haulers that had problems back when everyone was having problems getting it hauled. So there was a pretty big spike in 2018 due to that. And then other than that, it's been pretty stable. Also, we had the city of Marietta coming in 2018 that they stopped coming in 2019. And that's about it.
We lost the city of Marietta due to competitive pressures, and Republic Industries picked up the city of Marietta contract, and that's why you saw a pretty sharp decline in your tons from 18 to 19. So we're going to try to get them back in a couple of years and get them back coming to your place.
Okay. Any questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
We're always here to serve Kimberly as well.
Okay, next for West Rock Recycling, we have Nate Nelson, who is the General Manager for West Rock Recycling.
Morning, everyone. Who we are, West Rock's a Georgia-based, headquartered here in Atlanta, packaging leader in the world. We're pretty much number 1 or number 2 in any major packaging category. We produce products you see and use every day. One thing I was talking to some folks about earlier is we make 3 million pizza boxes per day. I think we have 7 dedicated facilities just to make pizza boxes, so it's one of our stronger products. We do offer the Citizen Drop-Off Center. Tonnage down year over year. I think we're being met with a little bit of skepticism on recyclability of certain items. Next. The big one, obviously, our tonnage from 18 to 19 is down, attributed to several factors. The primary one being a significant capital investment that had us down for 5 weeks in September timeframe of last year. We'll talk about that, but it represents about a $2.5 million investment into the facility. Additionally, we did have some market pressures, lost City of Smyrna for a time, and then we also take in typically some tonnage from our competitors as they have different operating issues. Those tonnages were down from 18 to 19, resulting in that drop. Talking about the capital investment, if you see here, this is kind of a before on our fiber post sort, the mixed paper. That was all manual process prior to that. Had a lot of people picking contamination out to make a sellable product for the market. Now we have infrared lasers sensing that contamination, the machines you see there, and it automatically ejects that with a burst of air. So results from that, really, it took us from about a 7 or 8% contamination in that mixed paper down to sub 2%, 1.53% based on our audits. So we're seeing great quality as a result, makes it more usable product for our paper mills at internal consumption. 90% of the fiber we produce goes to an internal West Rock mill, and then we also do some business with a mill in Cobb County. Additionally, we added a ballistic separator. Traditional method is disc screens that rotate and separate two-dimensional and three-dimensional items. Got big rubber discs. As you can see here, this works on a paddle system and creates a little bit better separation between your plastics and your paper. So the gist of that is that we're getting a cleaner material and we are getting more usable good to sell as a result. So we did talk about the down. I will say that we've secured some new volume and have us trending, at least early this year, towards closer to that 2018 number volume-wise. We don't have any major planned outages, so we should see back on track with 2018 revenues. However, recycling market is challenged right now. Looking at those items, if you look at a 2018 January number on a blended value of a single stream ton, it was about $73.30. January 2019, that dropped to about $53.28. So you do see some downward pressure with China, their quality concerns, and throwing a lot of extra volume onto the domestic market. Next slide. All right. Just to talk about some of the revenue that we do bring in, if we look at juxtaposed with across the Southeast United States, most communities are actually being charged on average about $60 a ton to actually do the recycling. Jacksonville, I know there's some people that are over $100 a ton to process. So part of our capital investment, not only to clean up the fiber, but was also to reduce that operating cost and continue to be a good business. Recycling challenges, we talk about glass every year. We've refurbished our glass breakers during that outage, so we're seeing a lot more reduction in our glass percentage. China's national sword, obviously they're accepting less materials and those materials have to be cleaner, so that puts pressure on our domestic market here. Mixed residential paper, that mixed paper that the $2 million addressed, the quality on that, the decline in value, it's actually worth negative $5 a ton right now, market value. So the good news is West Rock does consume a large percentage of it, and I don't have any trouble moving it, especially due to the increased quality from the capital investment. There's going to be new investments needed. We've got some plans to do some continued automation and increase those capture rates, which should be a win for West Rock and Cobb County. Questions?
So it sounds like that this particular area has more challenges than normal, being able to move your product.
Nationwide, yes, sir. The good news for us is that we are a fully integrated company. We primarily ship to Stevenson, Alabama, and Dublin, Georgia on our fiber. That's where 90% of the fiber goes. The remaining product is clean enough now with the optical sorters that I really do not have a problem moving it. We're I could export it if necessary. We're making that quality now, so that does give us the option in case there's a domestic disturbance. However, given the quality of our paper, we can sell it all day long at this point. We needed the capital investment prior to, otherwise we may not be having the same discussion.
Well, I appreciate your confidence. Any other questions from the board? We're good. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming this morning.
Okay, and next we have Kimberly White, my closer, coming up to talk about Keep Cobb Beautiful.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Hey, Kimberly.
So our nonprofit update, we have our board of directors. Our executive committee is made up of Enrico Washington. He represents District 1. Michael Nagy represents District 1. Harvey Williams represents District 4. Eva Tackett represents the city of Smyrna. And Sharon Meinhardt, she represents District 2. And then we have our associate board members, and they represent 3 different high schools here in Cobb County: Campbell, Hillgrove, and Kennesaw Mountain. So what do? Most everyone in the room knows what we do, but we can go over it quickly. We do litter prevention, community greening and beautification, and then waste reduction and recycling. These are our programs at a glance. We are always updating all of these programs and including more in them, but I would like to make note of a few of them. So our Cobb Library Summer Series, this one is really fun, and we expanded that last year, or actually 2 years ago, when we included a summer recycling or sustainability art show and contest. And this year, we have created a jewelry making with recycling materials, so that should be a lot of fun. We also, of course, do our Cobb Trees program. That's pretty big, and we partner a lot with our Parks Department and DOT with that program. And then, of course, our recycling and waste reduction. I'll go a little bit more into detail about that on some other slides, but there are a number of programs and projects up there that I'm sure everybody recognizes. So our Bring One for the Chipper, this is the program that we do with tag grinding as well. And we collected this past year 19,790 trees. So that's really, really good, actually. And this year, our partnership with Davy Tree was more successful. They went out a little bit earlier and started chipping trees so that they weren't left at the Home Depots for as long this year. So that's great. Our Adopt a Mile program, in 2019, we had 1,090 volunteers. That is actually a decline in the number of volunteers that we've had in the past. And that is a direct link to the amount of Adopt a Mile groups. So last year, we had 184 Adopt a Mile groups, and this year we have approximately 142. And the reason why that number is going down is because we have some groups that have been with us for a very long time, 20 years, 25 years. And some of these groups, they're getting older, they're either sickly or they just can't take care of the Adopt a Mile location. So we're really working hard to try to get our numbers back up and get more newer people to adopt those miles that have been taken care of for so long by the same groups. In our medication disposal days, this past year, we were able to expand that particular event, and we partnered with our senior services, and we held 2 events, as we always do, but we held it in 2 different locations. And so thank you, Commissioner Ott, for coming out and helping us with that one. And then, of course, Commissioner Burrow always comes out and helps us with the location on Cobb Parkway, and then we had a new location at C. Freeman Pool this year. Okay, and our community recycling events in HHW, that stands for Household Hazardous Waste, those events have been growing consistently over the last few years. I know when the year before I started the community recycling event, I believe we had about 500 participants participate at that event. My first year here, we had 750, and the last event that we had last spring was 2,200 cars approximately came through the event, the same time frame as we always have done. So we've had to become much more efficient at managing this particular event. Our Cobb Trees program, like I mentioned earlier, we've planted over 200 trees, and actually in counting, because we're still in the season. So our season goes from, I mean, weather permitting, from the end of October to the beginning of March. And so it kind of overlaps a little bit. So we're still in that planting season. And then our Dig in the Dirt grants. These are the grants that we give to the schools to place gardens. So we have 8 schools this year that participated in that particular program. And we had over 9,000 students, directly, actively involved in that. Since most of the schools were elementary schools, there were, a number of children there. Our Great American Cleanup, March 1st through June 31st. We had 152 projects that included all of our Adopt a Mile cleanups. So they all participate in a cleanup in that particular quarter. And then we had 2 recycling events and some exhibits and education booths. And then, of course, our school and community programs and events. We have, like I said before, our Cobb Library summer series, and then civic group speaking engagements, and then also our community events. Anheuser-Busch, a few years ago, donated some funding to help with the watershed project, which we picked Noonday Creek Trailhead, and that money has been able to continue. We've been able to continue that project there, and so we were able to use the money to put in some native plant species to make sure that the bank is stabilized. So that's ongoing, and we're continuing that with students from Osborne High School. Our litter index survey. So as you can see, for the last few years, we were going in a good trend, going down, because the scores are from 1 to 4. So 1 being the best and 4 being the worst. So you want to be as close as possible to 1. So in 2017, we had a general litter index score of 1.74. We moved down to 1.58, and then last year, a slight trend going up. And we have plans to address this, and part of that, does come from our Adopt a Mile groups, that number going down. So this was a new program last year, and so I just wanted to give a little bit of an update on this. This is the Hefty Energy Bag Program, and we were able to, this is a nationally recognized program. We've won a few awards for this. We were able to move into phase 2, so it's county-wide now. We were able to pull on some additional haulers, cities as well. The first city on board is Smyrna. We're working with Powder Springs and Marietta as well as Kennesaw. And we also worked really hard and got the bags into retail. So you can purchase the bags now at your local Kroger stores in Cobb County only. And so we were able to collect in 2019 almost 39,000 pounds of material that we were able to, initially we were processing the material, turn it into diesel fuel, oil, and wax. We have since been able to develop some additional end user markets where we're able to turn the material into plastic lumber, plastic railroad ties, and even aggregate to build concrete blocks. So this is our VISTA program. This was a new program as well last year, but we're continuing to move forward. This was a federal program that lasts 3 to 5 years. And it's a joint effort between Keep America Beautiful and AmeriCorps. And this is to identify food insecurity zones within our county and then place gardens there, teach the community members how to take care of those gardens, and then they have access to fresh fruits and vegetables within walking distance of their home. We've identified a few locations, but we will soon be working with Commissioner Burrow for in the Marietta area, and then of course Commissioner Cupid for District 4, because these are the pockets where we have some of these food insecurity zones. So this is not really a new program, but it's coming back, right? So I'm excited about it. I hope everyone else is as well. So this is the first. This is the first marketing piece that's going out, and you guys will see this a lot. It'll be on social media and on our website, and we're going to push this out. So we are opening back up our recycling drop spot locations. And so for District 2, we'll be placing containers back at Lower Roswell Road, District 3 back at Library Lane, District 4 back on Austell Road at the Government Center, District 1. We have had a location on Camp Ridge Road, but we could talk a little bit more about that if you like if you'd like your containers to go in another location, we've had a couple of requests to move the container to different areas where where your constituents think they could access it better. So this is our cost benefit. So we do this every year as a part of our reporting that we have to do for Keep America Beautiful as well. Our total events, projects, and programs, this includes all of our Adopt a Mile cleanups, and which is why, you know, the number is really high. I personally don't go out and do 800 events in the year. So we have a total benefits of almost $5 million. Our total cost, and this is for our projects, programs, and events, is approximately $175,000. And so our cost benefit ratio, this basically means that for every $1 that's given to Keep Cobb Beautiful through our budget, we're able to, in turn, either through grants, donations, in-kind donations, or volunteer time in efforts, we're able to turn that dollar around to the benefit of $27.97. And so this rate has been going up each year, so that's good. That means that we're very, you know, we're working really efficiently with the dollars that we've been given. So this year, we've had some awards that we've won, but notably, I'd like to just, you know, make note of two of them. So the national and the Georgia State Georgia Student of the Year award went to Keiko Huffman. We're really proud of her. She's in District 1. She goes to Kennesaw Mountain High School, and she was our ECHO intern last summer, and then was able to stay on with us through a school program. And we've been able to work with her and kind of mentor her, and she won both the Georgia and the National Student of the Year. So we're real proud of that. And then this year, we were also picked as the affiliate of Sustained Excellence. So that's really cool. That means that we would have won the Affiliate of Excellence Awards for 3 consecutive years in order to qualify for the Affiliate of Sustained Excellence. So we're really proud of that. And then this is, that's Keiko there, and she's accepting her award at the National Award Ceremony. Our upcoming events, March 12th, which is just in a few days. So today I'm like in my, you know, jacket and everything, but in a couple of days I'll be in some jeans and some boots and planting trees. At Kennesaw Archery, we have a tree planting there. And then actually March 30th will be that date. We had to change the date. So Green Meadows tree planting, where we have some students come out to do a day of service. From the North Cobb Christian School. And then we also have on April 4th our Plog for Cobb, so we're real excited about this. Plogging is basically picking up litter while jogging, and so we'll have a big plogging event. We have our medication disposal on April 18th. April 25th is our community recycling, and then our household hazardous waste on June 27th. Any questions?
Yeah, I want you to go back to the ratio slide on litter.
Mm-hmm. No, he's at the ratio. There you go.
No, keep going, the ratio per district, it shows each of the district, like Commissioner, I had 1.5.
Oh, the litter index.
Yeah, litter index, there you go. Okay, I guess what concerns me here is that in 2018, the budget included couple extra $1 million for people to help mow the grass and pick up litter. And then last year we put additional money into the budget for contractual, I think, support, and yet the litter rate keeps going up.
Yeah, but Mr. Chairman, I think part of it is Kimberly pointed out that the number of teams, Adopt a Mile teams dropped. So as much as, you know, we've increased road crews and all that to cut the grass and everything else like that, the fact is the Adopt a Mile teams are really significantly impacting the litter pickup.
Okay, all right. There's another thing I was going to ask you here. But I haven't loosened my tie enough, so I forgot. So, all right, well, listen, you're doing a great job down there, and we're really proud of all your efforts of your team and everything. And if there's things we can do to tweak up here to help you with that. Now, I know what the question was. Does that litter rate also include the state highways?
So, no, it does not actually, because we are required to do, now, so Keep Georgia Beautiful has
Right.
to report to Keep America Beautiful about the state routes, but we report on our county roads.
Okay, because one of my observations is that on the off-ramps from the federal highway, from the interstate and the state highways, the loop, it just drives me nuts, we call and then 2 or 3 days later, it's all back, so.
Yeah.
And I realize that's outside your control.
One of the things, Kimberly, can we go back to that slide again? Just when you look at the items that go into the litter, pedestrian safety, curbing and all that, which one is the litter the biggest one? Or is there some other things? Because, for example, pedestrian safety, curbing, those are kind of county functions. When you say curbing, existence of curbing or?
No, what we mean by curbing is when sediment, falls right where the road meets the curb, and it builds up, and then it causes it's unsightly, really.
Right.
So that's what we mean by the word curbing, not necessarily the presence of a paved
Right,
walkway.
but the curbing thing, Mr. Chairman, the two things that, if you want to say that the county, when you ask about the work crews, the only two things, the two big things on there, pedestrian safety, would be, of course, DOT, and those things don't necessarily happen quickly, depending on what is involved. With the curbing, I mean, that's the street sweepers, and you remember for a while there, we had one that was out of action,
Right.
and we now have a second.
Right, okay. Okay, all right, any other questions? All right, thanks, Kimberly, keep up the
Thank
good work.
you. Thank
bet.
you.
And Chairman, one of the things that Director Tanks wanted me to bring up was that we are working on a work session item that we're going to be bringing forward on March 23rd. And part of that work session item, we'll be talking about litter control and prevention. DOT is jointly working with Kimberly right now on some recommendations on how we can address litter better. We will also be talking about recycling and different trends in solid waste and recycling for the county on the 23rd.
Okay, thanks.
All right, do you have any questions for me?
I think we're good. All right, thank you for the program this morning.
Thanks, sir.
And with that, we're adjourned until 9 o'clock.